Hi, my name is Karen, and I'm gonna be the leader of your embroidery project group. So some of the things that you're going to need as we go along with this project are, you're going to need some good scissors that can cut thread. You'll be receiving the thread in your packet that you get, but if you want to buy more that looks like this, and you can get it at Walmart or Hobby Lobby, it's fairly cheap. So you can get any color that you want if you don't like the colors that we send you in your kit. You'll be getting your fabric along with an embroidery needle. If you lose yours, you can buy more. They come in a pack of 10 or 12 at the Joann's or Hobby Lobby, wherever you like to buy stuff. And you might think about getting a blue disappearing ink marking pencil, or one that you can use with your spritzer and your iron. So once we have our design sewn, then we can use our iron and our water bottle, and this comes off with water. So if you make a mistake, you can use water. You could lick your finger and, get it off. That works too, but it'd probably be better to use a spray bottle. You'll also need an embroidery hoop, and you're going to get one of these in your kit. And the first pattern we're going to do is a bee. It's a real simple pattern, and so we're going to be using a straight stitch, and then I'm going to show you the chain stitch, and then this is the fill stitch as we're going to do the bee. So we're ready to get started. And so once you get your thread, it'll be 6 strands of thread, and you want to divide that in half. So half of 6 is 3. So you want to divide that out. And so it's usually pretty easy to divide. Sometimes I feel like I need another hand, so you could put one in your mouth if you wanted to, so you'd have an extra hand, or you could get a brother or sister to help you. All right, so we have 2 pieces, so you should have plenty to make your bee. All right, then we're going to thread our needle, and so you can do that however you like to. I like to wet the ends of the stitches and hold it real close in between my fingers, and then slide the eye of the needle over there, just like that. And then you're going to want to tie a knot. Now you want to leave one end loose, so you want to tie a knot in the other end. You may have a good way of tying a knot. I usually just do it like this. If you're in our sewing club, Miss Smith has a great way of showing you how to do your needle, do your knot. We'll have her show us that one time. But this is what I'm going to do for now. All right? All right, so your embroidery hoop is a little kind of hard to work with, but you want to hold this side and then untwist this side to loosen it up to where you can slide it apart. The small part is going to go under the design that we're going to do first, which is going to be our bee, so we want it to be in the center. And then you're going to put your other hoop over top. As you see, it fits nicely in there, but let's tighten it up so that it stays good and tight in there while we're sewing, so that helps us to make much nicer, even, prettier stitches. And you can kind of pull the fabric around the back. Okay, I've already drawn the design on your fabric for you, and you can start. We're going to start, and we're going to sew the bee first, which looks like this. So we're just going to make some. I always like to start at a place that looks really even across the top. So we're going to start by sewing our stitches right like this, and so we're going to come back up right next to the place we came up the last time. Now if it feels like it's getting hung up on the back side, you can flip it over, and as you can see, my little knot here, it came back through the front. So we want to make sure that string stays on the back, because we don't want our bumblebee to be ugly when we get done. We want it to be beautiful. So we're going to sew little stitches. This is called the fill stitch, and it fills in whatever design you want it to fill. So you're just going to do this all the way down. Now we are going to put 3 little black stripes on there, but if you want to go ahead and just do the whole bee in yellow first, you can do that. You have plenty of thread to do that with. So you're just going to keep doing this for the whole bee. When you finish the body of your bee, you're going to turn it over to the back. And in order to tie off the thread, because if you just pulled your needle off and cut that, it would start to unravel. So you want to just get a few stitches, take a stitch of something you've already sewed, and then make a loop and put your needle through and pull it tight. And that will tie off your thread, and then you can trim it right here. Now I don't know what happened here, but if that happens to yours, just leave it, it's fine. All right, now we're ready to sew our black stripes on our bee's body. So we're gonna thread our needle to do that. To separate your threads, 3 threads on one and 3 threads on the other. That way, if you need black in a few minutes for something else, you'll have some spare parts. And we didn't even use all of our yellow, so we have extra stuff. Okay, so decide where you want to put your bee stripes and just start. And you do the same kind of stitch you did before, and just sew really close together. And however wide you want your stripes to be is however wide you want them. And if you do like that and you have a little piece in the middle, just go back and fill it in. The key to making them look smooth like this is to pull them put as much pressure on your needle the first time as you do the last time. So if you pull it really tight, you need to pull all your stitches really tight. If you just have it kind of loose, then you just leave it loose. So I think that one looks great. Let's go down and do the middle stripe. And you just keep doing that until you get all of your stripes done. And if they look crooked, like that one looks a little crooked, that's okay. Just go back across there and fill it in the gaps. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. Handmade gifts are always unique. Don't forget to tie off your thread by making a stitch and then forming a loop, and then running your needle back through the loop to tie off the threads on the back, and then you can just cut them. And there we have our bee. All right, for our wings, we're gonna do a chain stitch, and so I'm gonna show you how to do that. I've already separated my thread 3 strands here, and I've tied a knot in the end. And so I'm gonna start right here next to the bee on this line. Okay, and so for a chain stitch, you're going to make a small stitch, and then every time you make a stitch, you're going to pull your string through the loop. So you're going to make a loop every time you take a stitch, and you're going to pull your needle through that loop, and it makes a little chain stitch. Now this is really hard to see because it's a light gray thread, and I'm trying to sew over a very thick blue line, but when we get finished, you'll be able to see that once we take that blue off of our fabric, you'll be able to see how pretty this chain stitch can be. And so this is called a chain stitch. And so we're going to do that for all 4 of our little bee wings. And if you find this is too difficult to do, it's okay. You can always just do a straight stitch if you want to do that. And when you get to the end, all you have to do is put your needle through the hole, just through the fabric outside of your chain stitch. And there you have it. That's a chain stitch. Okay? All right, once you got your chain stitch done, we're ready to sew this little part right here. And so as you can see on the pattern, it's a little straight stitch. And if you want yours to be real neat like this one in the picture, the key is to make your stitches the same size. So we're going to start right here as a little tail. And as you can see, my little tail's over here to the side, but I'm going to put it in the middle just because I like things to be just perfect. So we're going to make them real even. Now you can do it like this and take your needle to the back and then push it back down on the front. Or if you want to be quicker, you can do it like this. And you can use your finger on the back side to help guide your needle, and you can do little stitches like this. And you can get done a little bit faster, as you can see. The only thing is you can't go too fast because you got all these little curves in here, and you want to make sure you do the curves so that it looks good when you're finished. You got to watch for the tail of your thread. See, it's right here. It's getting really close. We're going to have to reload thread in just a couple minutes probably. And then as you can see, I'm moving a little bit closer to the edge of my embroidery hoop. So we'll have to move it too. But that's okay. I'll show you how to do that in case you don't know. And you can go to as close to it as you want. So right there, let's just go ahead and stop right there with our stitch, and we'll turn it over to the back because my thread's getting really small. Don't forget to tie off your needle, and if you don't have a big hoop, you can push the back end of your needle through that loop if you don't have much room, and if it feels a little loose, it doesn't matter, you can do another one of those tie-off stitches. So we sure don't want our hard work to come undone. And of course, trim the thread. And then in order to loosen your hoop, remember to hold this side and then unscrew the bolt here until we can push the bottom out. And then we're going to move our design to where we can get most of it in our hoop and still sew. And then take 3 strands of your gray that you had left, and then you're going to put your needle back through there, and then you're going to tie a knot in the end, however works for you, and usually 2 knots will do it, as long as you can get them in the same place. And then you can continue your stitch. Remember, we're doing it kind of front and backwards kind of a thing, so make sure you leave enough space there where you start so it doesn't look like we had to do anything at all to our thread. And sometimes it gets hung on the hoop like that. When that happens, just try to get it off like that and straighten it back out. And then just keep sewing your straight stitch. All right, so when you get your design done, you bring it to the ironing board, and if you have a spray option on your iron, you can use that to spray water if you have a spray bottle at home. If you don't, you can just get water from the sink. Anything will work. And you spray it till all those blue lines disappear. And then, so then you just press until it gets dry, and then all the blue marks are gone. And you have your finished product. And this is the first step in our embroidery project, and you'll get the next kit soon.